We're going to switch over to Gundam Breaker 4 after the intermission, but listen. Listen, y'all. Before we cut to that intermission, let's go ahead and actually give this a bit of a review. Alright, because I have actually already beaten the game, and I've, completed the main story narrative, and it is a fantastically well-written story. So, let's just get right down to it, shall we? Welcome to another Backlog review. This time, we're reviewing Elsie. Just came out this week. I've played a truckload of it. I've had the honor of receiving a review code from Platonic Games, whom, for those of you fellow content creators out there looking into getting into something new, they're actually sending out review codes for Victory Heat Rally, so you'll want to check that out too. But let's get down to brass tacks here. Let's start with, of course. Let's start with the audio visual review. As I'm sure has been pointed out over the course of this stream and the other streams where I've played this, the art design in this game is stellar. It is full of so much charm and so many wonderful little callbacks to previous platformers and running guns that we all grew up with and we all loved for, those of us who have been gaming since the Super Nintendo, right? The colors are bright and vibrant, but not too much so to the point where anything is missable, where it's difficult to read what's going on the screen. Because not only is this, a roguelike, platformer in the vein of Mega Man X, but it's also, it also takes bullet hell elements too. So you have to be quick on the parry, you have to be quick on your dodges, you have to be quick on your offense, defense, and mobility. That's the name of the game. And again, just the fact that the colors are so vibrant but still easily readable is huge. That is a big thing for me. And on the audio side of things, the voice acting is actually, pretty good. We don't have too many, really big names. Most of them are, more, I guess, double A instead of triple A voice actors. Folks that you've seen or might have heard in like fan dubs or, smaller budget productions. And the music in this game is a treat. I cannot articulate enough just how fantastic the soundtrack in this game is. Not a single track misses. I just wish I could find these on YouTube so that way I could bookmark them, or maybe even find a way to download the soundtrack so I could play it in the truck while I'm on the way to work. So, going from the audio visual critiquing, let's pop over to the mechanics. Now, as you play through the early parts of the game, you get put through the tutorials talking about the different mechanics. Everything from the parry, which can be used to avoid any instance of damage, period. From the parry to the dashing. Let's see, parries, dashes, your little ground stomps, which actually can be used on certain items to help springboard to higher elevations for greater exploration. Let's see, of course, your attacks, whether they be melee or ranged, all have energy that you have to keep an eye out for. It's your stamina bar. Stamina/ammunition. But what's more is the interplay between the mechanics and how you can combine them for just various unorthodox and high-octane maneuvers. To say that this game is kinetic is probably one of the most apt descriptions, but still feels like it woefully falls short of the actual truth of going hands-on with this thing. And then, of course, you have, the different perks and the different items that you can equip for your characters for various combinations. All kinds of wild stuff can be put together. It's like figuring out how to put together sets and loadouts for Hades, right? You can get so crazy to the point where you throw, like say with Andrew, you throw one dagger, the enemy explodes into multiple daggers, which home around the screen and take out other enemies, which explode into more daggers and home around the screen until you are clearing out rooms with the press of a button. But you gotta have the right setup. And then there's the boss fights. The boss fights in this game, from, the, I guess, sub-bosses to the main guardian bosses, are, like, every single fight is a puzzle to solve, and it gets you thinking on your feet. It's glorious in its execution, and when you actually fine-tune your gameplay, you can turn this into a spectator sport. No question. So from there, we've got AV, we've got mechanics. Getting into the story itself. Elsie, it's a tried and true story. Robotics engineer creates super powerful life forms. Something happens and these super powerful life forms start running amok, and then the mechanical genius creates one more, your character, to go out there and bring the others in line, if not take them out entirely. It's the classic Mega Man story with the robot masters, right? But then, there's little tidbits and sprinkles of God. I want to go further into, the different elements that this incorporates into the story, but I don't want to spoil it for you, because I most highly recommend folks get down to playing this game. But who am I kidding? I'll just put it to you like this. There's family drama, there's a little bit of humor, there's bits and pieces of, seeing as how this story involves androids, there's bits and pieces of it's a sort of post-human, transhuman story. So this seeing as how the story centers around, a majority of androids, there's still just that concept of, what is life? What is human? Or what is humanity? That kind of thing. And now let's bring it down to the brass tacks. As a product, I will say this. There have been some issues. There have been some bugs that I wound up uncovering over the course of my playthrough. Not full-on... Well, I would say full-on crashes, but it's not crashes due to the game's inherent instability, so much as it is, this is stuff that if I were actually playing this to, test it, to QA test it, I probably would have found these bugs just over the course of, putting together so many wild combinations that I eventually put something together that just breaks the game in a bad way as opposed to in a fun way. So do keep in mind, this is Night Shift Games' first effort, so there's still some bugs that need to be worked out, but there is nothing in there that will truly wreck your progress, because pretty much after each room and after you pick up each bonus or each part for the hub, it's always saving, so you're not really losing any substantive progress. Hence, the bugs that you'll find in the game, yeah, are negligible, but still need to be fixed. But with that being said, though... Wait. Oh, that's Ghost Runner. Sorry. But with that being said, let's go ahead and pop out here to the main hub. Let's close the game for now. I have put in 20 hours on this game thus far. 20! And Elsie is currently running for... $24.99. So, $25 for a game that is built to be replayed over and over again, not just to experience the story over again, but also to find, different ways to play through the game as different, as the dungeons are procedurally generated, as you get different loadouts for your gear. It's for what you pay for this, for what you would pay for this game, you can get quite a lot out of it, and you may not even realize where the time has gone. So, with all that being said, if we're going to go ahead and grade this, if we're going to scale it based on, if we're going to scale it based on the dollar per hour scale of value proposition, I would say this game would hit 1 for 1. I think it would hit 1 for 1 at its current price point, at the $25 mark. Would I recommend picking this game up right away? Yes, with a caveat. The caveat being, keep in mind, you may encounter some bugs just from what you put into the game. You may encounter some bugs that you're not expecting. You may encounter some bugs that the developers may not have expected. In fact, I still do plan on sending the clips that I have of the game actually, glitching and bugging out to the developers, so that way they can get to work on, patching things out, improving the experience even more, and making this a solid, as bug-free game as possible. Now, under normal circumstances, when a game crashes, that would effectively, that would kill it in my eyes, because that's instability, and that instability in turn turns into what would be a waste of a person's time and money. But again, even with the few bugs that I found in this game, they are negligible enough to the point where you are not losing out on time, and they can, I would say, quite easily be fixed depending on how Night Shift Games goes about their troubleshooting. So, with all that out of the way, comes down to the big question. Buy, borrow, burn, or bury? Again, I would definitely put this up there in the buy with a caveat. Until the bugs get patched out, or maybe even until more are uncovered and, gone through troubleshooting. I would say beware. Beware. With as crazy as this game gets, and with, as wild as this game can get just from, procedural generation and random generation, there is going to be a chance for shenanigans. let's just put it out there. There's going to be a chance for shenanigans in the code. But other than that, pick this game up. If you can find it for cheaper, so much the better. But I can definitely say you are going to get good value for your dollar out of this game, and it's going to be a lot of fun, especially for folks that are looking for a return to the classic sort of Mega Man X style of gameplay and storytelling and design. You know, if you've been looking for something that's going to take you back to the heyday of the Super NES to the PS2 era with the old Capcom side-scrollers like Mega Man X, then pick this up. If you're into, something different as far as roguelikes go, something different as far as bullet hell games go, pick this up. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and cut to intermission. We are actually now beyond the halfway point where we would normally cut to intermission. So, give yourselves a chance to get up, stretch, get some air, grab yourself something to drink, grab a snack, but come right back. It's Gundam Breaker 4 after the break.